So, welcome back to the class on PLM. So, today we'll be just brushing out an important case study related to how to implement new strategies to the existing product design process so that it helps in improving the entire life cycle of the product and also in improving the sales, returns, and its all objectives with the optimized results. So today we will be just dealing with this particular case study. I will just share the screen. Is the screen visible? Hello? Hello?
Yes, ma'am, it's visible.
Yeah. So you can just see this is a particular case study which was published in World Journal of Engineering and Technology in the year 2016. So this is basically on development of product design strategies with specific tools. Okay, so it could be for higher education and it could be implemented in any organization as well. So this was the thing which took place in University of Zaragoza in Spain. So, related to the entire view, the abstract speaks about what the paper is exactly into. I'm not going in depth with respect to the theoretical concept. They have the sketches and the explanation, so I'll go with that. So, you'll just understand how the changes to be made with respect to our existing design process. Because in your module 2, we have studied about the ancient time design process, how was it for a particular product, and now how various fine-tune aspect has taken place and how the existing product design process is being carried out. So based on the existing product design, still here they have made some fine-tune process. So this we have to deal in depth. So here just I want to tell you 2 points. The paper here speaks about two aspects. Okay, so this paper presents you two approaches in order to design a particular given project for its development process. So what are these two aspects? So one is the projects with imposed specifications and projects. Okay, and later the derived specification and the purpose which has to be used in the given particular matrix. Okay, so they consider two aspects. One is related to the design project development concept. Another one is related to the derived specifications. So each product will be having its own technical specifications, the bill of materials, everything. So how to map this derived specification with respect to the concept of the design which is being given. So both has to map properly. Then only we can say that the goal or the objective of that particular product is being achieved. So this only will be focusing here in this paper. So related to that, some introduction part has been given, how an product design process looks like. So you know this product design process we have done already in your module 2. So it starts up basically with a strategic definition. So how a strategic definition for a particular product comes into picture. So it is basically depending upon the need in the market. So they do a survey and take the need or requirement from that sector of customers who is in need for that particular product. So based on the need of the customer, a proper strategic definition will be made. So this will be nothing but our problem statement basically. Okay, so once the strategic definition is being created, based on the definition or based on the problem definition or based on the strategic definition or based on the need of the customer, concept design will be made. So this concept design will be not providing you any technical specification, bill of materials, all those things. It is just a rough figure of how a product looks like. It is just a conceptual design how the product looks like based on the needs of the customers which is being surveyed from the market. So based on it the concept design will be made. So so you will be having a team of design people who will do this design, and there will be a team leader called as a main design leader. So he will be then finalizing which concept has to be considered, which concept design has to be selected, because the concept design what you select should be competitive enough in today's growing technological world, and it should be competitive enough to that of other products also similar one which are coming into the market. So based on all these surveys, the design engineer will be having all the survey related to the product what is there in the existence. So based on that he should check which concept design made by his team is more competitive enough. So based on that the concept design will be selected. So the selected concept design then will undergo for the detailed design. So here all the specification, bill of materials, A to Z information related to the design concepts of a particular product will be assigned. So once this detailed design will be made, right, so then it goes for verification and testing. So what do you mean by verification and testing over here? So the detailed design which is done has to be modeled. It could be done mathematical modeling, and then it could be tested for simulation and do the analysis part of it. So all these things should be finalized. Okay, so once the detailed design has been approved by the design engineer, the design will be modeled, it will be simulated, it will be analyzed. So if you see the results what you are getting is feasible enough to put forward for manufacturing, so then the testing of that particular product could be done. So the testing of the product could be done virtually, virtual prototype could be done, right, or in physical prototype also could be done. So this is a part of testing which they have to check whether the design approved by the design engineer is worth in going for manufacturing. So once this verification and testing is been done by the simulation as well as the prototyping part, then only it will go for full-fledged production. So it won't go all the way directly for a mass production. First a single piece of the product will be manufactured, it will be tested in actual, and the comments from the customers will be taken. So they will check and tell whether this is, whether all the needs of the customer is been satisfied in this particular product. Okay, so even that review from the customer could be taken during the type of prototyping work also. It is not necessary that they have to wait until the product is on the road. Okay, so they can do the survey with respect to the customers during the prototyping of that particular product. It could be virtual prototyping or physical prototyping of it. So there if any changes are to be made, so that could be modified in the detailed design. So it will go back to the design team and they will do the modification, and again they will come back to the prototyping stage, so where testing will be done. So once it has been pakka 100%, it is working as per the requirement and it is satisfying the needs, so then it will go for actual production. So in each stages in back end the marketing part will be going in Zoom once the detailed design has been approved, because they have to take a proper campaign related to the product which is going to be launched in the market, so that the customer will be aware exactly which is the product which is coming into the market, how it functions, so how the needs of them will be satisfied. So all these in the back end the marketing people will be playing a vital role in their marketing strategies. So these go hand in hand parallelly, and later the produced product will be thrown into the market. So when the product is in the market, you know the life cycle of it, the product life cycle, how it comes into picture. It has 5 phases, right from the introduction phase and it growth phase, saturation and decline phase, and before introduction initiation phase is also there. So all the 5 phases we have related to the product when it is in the market. So we had studied only this sector as product life cycle management in our module 1 and 2. But when we came for module 5 related to virtual manufacturing of the products and product structures, we studied about the life cycle of each and every item which comes into the picture right from the definition concept of the product until it's finally disposed. So this we studied under the title product life cycle of each and every individual items in module 5. So each and every stage will be having its own life cycle. It is not only the product which has its life cycle when it has reached the market. Okay, so once this is done, so the product will capture the market based on how good the marketing people are strong enough in their work. So once it reaches, initially when it goes into the market, it will be in the initiation phase. Then the product will be neatly introduced. The cost of the product will be sometimes less because they play an marketing strategy to grab the consumers. So once the profit and sales slightly increases, they show that they are now capturing the market. At that time, again, the cost of the product will be with respect to the actual price. Then it starts growing and finally it reaches the saturation phase. So in saturation phase, it will be enjoying ultimate profit. Then this saturation stage will be consistent for some period of time. It depends upon how good your product is, how well it can extend in the market for what period of time, right? So once it has enjoyed ultimately with good sales and return, if the current product will not update its upgradation with respect to the needs of the customer, then the sales and the profit of the product start reducing down. So that is a stage when the disposal of the product comes into the picture. Okay, and again, once the product is disposed, if the company should be growing in growing technology, they should be having one or the other product in their hand. So it could be the upgradation of the existing product as per the needs of the customers, or it could be a new product what they are throwing into the market. So this cycle goes on and on and on until and unless the company want to withstand well in the growing world. So this is about the general product design process, how it works in actual. So now in this paper for this existing product design process, so they have implemented some strategies in each and every stages. So I just want you to understand how these strategic definitions are split up, which tools are being used, how the design concepts are splitted up, which tools are used for design, right? So this implementation of the strategies in each and every stage of the design process you should understand clearly. Okay, so this basically starts up with an strategic definition. I told the strategic definition is nothing but the problem definition of our product. So this problem definition or strategic definition could be splitted up into three categories. So one is the objectives, action and the results. So based on the problem definition, the objectives will be setted out. So if you have a problem definition, so in order to achieve that problem definition successfully, in order to solve that problem, you should list out some objectives. So every problem definition, it's not necessary that it will be having a single objective. It can be having one, two, yeah, multiple based on how big your project definition is or the problem definition is. So based on the complexity of your problem definition, you will list out the objectives. So all these objectives put together will help you to achieve the problem definition and complete your project successfully and to get the product in your hand as per the requirement of the customers. So these will be the objectives. So in this way you have to list out the objectives. So you will exactly define the problem, what you have to work out. You will identify the opportunities which are available for improvement. You also identify the users, who are the users for the particular product, and also you will find out to investigate legislation and the industrial property related to that product if you have any. So all these things have to be checked out in the objective section. So once the objectives are listed out, you should now establish an action profile. How you start working, what is your actions taken to achieve your objectives successfully. Okay, so you will, to define the problem, what you have to do, you have to take some action. What is it? You have to define and manage the market segments. So you need to survey the entire market segment by segment. You should get the review from the customers, and then only based on the review of the customers the problem definition could be done, right? So this is the action which has to be done in order to achieve the first objective of your problem. Next, you have to identify the opportunities for improvement of that product. If it is an existing product where modification has to be done. So for that, what is the action taken? It has to be analyzed with respect to the competitive products which are there in the market already. Okay, and you should also establish your profile and needs related to the consumers. So these are the two actions what you have to do. Similarly, for the other objectives, similarly they are specific actions which the people of the company has to perform. So they do analyze different sources of information available, and they propose a team who will work on it, right? And also they put forward some rules, norms and regulations which the people have to follow and abide for the rules until and unless the product is completed successfully. So these are in common actions which has to be established to see that these objectives will go in a full phase. So once objectives are set, once actions are carried out, you should see what will be the results of the problem definition what you have defined. So to identify the results, you should list out the requirements of the functional characteristics which are being needed. What is the work plan? So you have to develop an work plan to see that, because every product what you have to manufacture will come out with a project which will be having a start point and a dead point, right? So based on the timeline for a particular project, you should develop your own Gantt chart or the work plan systematically, quarterly, monthly, yearly, how you plan. So for how long duration the project is, if it is for 1 year, yeah, 2 year, yeah, for 5 years, based on the time period, based on the timeline, that respective work plan will be done. And for every work packages assigned, there will be team assigned, and that team will be responsible to see that that particular work package for that product is completed. Okay, so if the work has to be started, keep in mind they should be having a particular budget amount sanctioned. So it has to see that whether the budget amount finalized for this particular product is estimated and sanctioned. If it is not estimated and sanctioned, you cannot start without the budget release, right? So this is very important. In the initial phase, it is not like only during the static definition you will define and you will set the objectives and leave. No, nothing will work properly until and unless you have taken the actions as per the actions needed, and you have seen that what all are required, what is the requirement for this particular project to come out. So you might be needing some equipments, you might be needing some softwares, you might be needing some expertise. If all these are available or not, you have to see whether the work plan is scheduled properly. You have to check whether the team needed for this particular task is available, that you have to see, and also whether the budget which is needed to complete the project is sanctioned or not, that also you have to see. If all these are done successfully, then only we can go for the design concept, or else it will be very difficult. Okay, so various tools will be needed in order to perform this action and result part of strategic definition. So these tools are being listed out here. So next phase will be nothing but our design concept, and even design concept will be divided into three sections. Okay, so in the design concept, so based on the problem definition, you should first develop the conceptual design. So how will one develop a conceptual design? So even the design concept will be having few objectives. What are those? To generate the alternatives. What are the alternative designs available already in the market? Is it a new thing what you are defining for the first time, or is it available already? If it is available, what are the alternatives? And how do you sort out the feature of each designs which are in existence, or whether if you're providing any innovative feature for that particular design, you have to list out. And also to allocate time and resources. What is the time required for this particular design of the product to be manufactured, and whether the resources needed in order to manufacture this particular design is available or not. Even that has to be checked. Suppose a company identifies a design in such a way that the time required is very long period, and the available resources are not, and the resources needed are not available, then it will be difficult for the design for the product to be manufactured. So as a designer, he should be also knowing the time which has to be required to complete the product, and also is the needed resources are available or not. And finally, you will select the generated ideas, and number of ideas will be there. So in that you will select which is the preferable idea. So that will be done by the design engineer as a leader. Okay, so finally, once this is done, you will define which are the technologies needed in order to convert this design into the product, and which are the materials needed, and which are the materials suitable to manufacture this particular product, because it will be every material will be having its own key properties. You should see that the product what you are manufacturing, which functional properties are needed. So based on the functional properties needed, you have to select the material. Sometimes you should select the material which is very strong, which is not corrosion, which is not corroded easily, which will not be affected from the external environment. Sometimes the product could be always below the sea in submarine cases. In that, the selection of the material will be different. So all these things plays a vital role, which has to be set forward in the objective section of the design concept. Right, so once these objective concepts are being designed, what you have to do is you have to take the necessary actions. Right, so what are the actions carried out with respect to the objectives described here? So you can map both the action and the objectives will be mapping with each other. Okay, so to generate the alternative design, one has to describe the concept of the design, what he wants to show on the paper based on the problem definition, right? So these design concepts will be registered, and approval of this design will be done by the design engineer if it is selected. And finally, they have to establish the criteria for the review and evaluation of the selected concept. So once the concept is selected, so it will be subjected to the criteria under review process and evaluation. So in this review and the evaluation, the selected concept has to be approved. So if it is approved only, then it will be carried forward, or else plenty of concept designs will be done by the design team. So they will check with the other designs which are more feasible. So then, to assess characteristics of users and consumers. Okay, so once this concept design has been approved under the section of review and the evaluation process, so it will be accessed with the need of the consumers or the users, whether it is mapping with exactly what was the need of the consumers was. Even if that is been done successfully, okay, so it will be carried out further. If any changes has to be made in order to meet the needs of the consumers, then possible changes and corrections which are needed for that particular approved concept has to be done by the team of the design people. So all these are the actions which has to be taken with care to see that it will be subjected for a successful approval of the conceptual design. Just a second, I'll share a link to this. Right, and the last part is the results. So here the concepts which are being generated, so they will check the different product concepts generated and which is the best, it will be selected. So all these goes parallelly, the objective will be mapped with the action and the action will be mapped with the results. So we can see for this objective what was the action taken and what was the result, what you achieved. So finally, based on the results list out for different conceptual design, you will select which is the best, more convenient and optimized way to come forward with the product. Okay, so first you will see the product concept generated, then selected alternatives for design will be compared with it, and once this has been competitive enough with the alternative designs, tender specifications will be called for to choose the concept which has been selected. So once the tender is called for and the people will come forward to take this tender for completion of the project, then that tender will be given for that particular company who will take the project, because every tender will sanction you the project and each project will be having a due date. So the person to whom the tender is given, he should be capable enough to manufacture that particular product within the due time and submit back from where he has taken the project. So all these three goes hand in hand in design concept. In the subject we just studied about what you mean by design concept, how it works exactly. So I explained this entirely in the previous cycle right away. So now the implementation of the strategies for each phase we are listing one by one, which will be having three sections under each phase. So one is objective, action and results. So to get successfully the results as per the actions taken, so we'll be needing some of the tools. So these tools are being listed out. For always, in order to develop a right conceptual design, a brainstorming session is very much needed. So entire team of the design people will do the brainstorming session in order to get initiated with the conceptual design, how it looks for the need of the customer, right? So that brings about the conceptual design, and finally the people will do the drawing manually and by 3D rendering process. Then they start with the drawings, right, and photo montage of the images of the design, and also some study models will be developed to check, and then prototyping of it. So it goes stage by stage to understand, to see whether the need of the customer will be satisfied successfully. So these are some tools which has to be followed. So once the concept design has been done, then it will go for detailed design process. So here definition of design specifications will come into the picture, right? So definition of design specifications. So you will generate the specifications in detail with bill of materials, everything for the conceptual design which has been selected. Then design factors will be identified. Okay, design for methodology we studied right in the second module, design for X, which has 6 criterias. So all these design factors which are essential to see for ease of manufacturing will be identified, right? So then what we'll do is it will directly go for identification of design factors and options for improvement if any design factors. So you will identify, there are 6 criterias in design factors, so we'll identify those design factors which are most suitable for this particular design, so we'll map with it. And if anything improvement is needed, so it could be fine tuned. Okay, so finally after this fine tuning and identifying the design factors which are available in design for X criterias, we will then go for definition of critical design specification. So until now you were just studying about the design specifications. So this design specification should also undergo these number of fine tuning process, and then it should end up with the critical design, finalized critical design with entire specification and the full information, detailed in-depth information about this critical design specification has to be given. So this design specification once approved will not be changed again, because it will go with so many process here, so there will be no chance of getting any error in the design which has been selected. Okay, so then it will pass through the generation of three sections. So desired specification 1, desired specification 2, desired specification 3. So all these criteria of the design specifications which are defined will be characterized into three sections. So this will be surveyed again, which specification yields the best, C1, C2, yeah, C3. So based on the selected desired specification at criteria at critical level, so those concepts will be selected and the detailed design information will be drafted out and it will be given for testing and analysis people. So based on this selected critical design specification, modeling will be done, analysis will be done, simulation part will be done. Always the simulation part cannot yield you 100% result. It has to be checked by actual working. So that could be done by virtual product virtual prototyping or in actual prototyping. So that will help in comparison how well this critical design selected is feasible enough to be as an product. So these are the changes one has to take care in implementing key strategies right from the problem definition to that of the design concepts. If the problem definition and the design concepts are done successfully, right, so then there will be no loss in the product and even the quality of the product will be very much in good. So related to that, few case studies here are being shared. Okay, so this you can just go through it. I'll just explain you one case study about it. So this is the key changes what they have done it. So this key change, how it is helping in actual is been listed out in different. So one approach here is projects with imposed specifications. So which is a case study taken here, it is the crane for people with reduced mobility. So this is the case which has been taken in order to understand what are the changes they have done. So here we can see the design of these type of cranes had helped them to adapt to the needs of the users. So that shows that the consumers had some needs in order to make some changes in the existing crane such that it reduces the mobility part of it. So what changes did they do basically? So in actual, they were having an structure that supports the efforts generated according to ISO standards. Right. So the following design specifications were established as per the need of the users. So what were the changes here? Individual use with maximum load capacity of 180 kg. Okay. And it should be of range of 1 meter only. So this is one of the need, and they should have a comfortable assisted and safe vertical movement, and third they should have horizontal movement and not necessary that it has to be assisted. Only for vertical movement they need the assistance, and in the horizontal movement it's not needed for the assistance. Okay, so and the next option of requirement was the drive system without network connections. Okay, so they need a drive system without a network connection and adaptation to narrow passageways. They should get adapted to the narrow passageways such as doors, yeah, hallways. And lastly, the technical development feasible at a competitive cost. So even the cost matters a lot. So these were the requirements which was needed. So in that, according to the scheme of tasks shown in figure 4, See, so this is a scheme of task which has been shown in the figure 4, what we explained. So we have explained the entire process, what are the changes to be made. So now we are relating to a particular case study, that's all. So you can go through this. This will help you to understand how now the crane application has been implemented to the figure 4. Hello? Sir, I'm in class 5 minutes. Okay. Right, so this will help in mapping the requirement with respect to the task which has been assigned. So the factors involved in the crane design were identified initially, and information driven from the analysis was summarized in the matrix table. So they took all the factors which we explained here in the figure 4, and that was being placed in the matrix as shown in the table 1. So the same thing, same concepts what we explained here related to the product design project with imposed specifications, same thing now they are displayed over here. So here we have the operation and function, the user and the environment, and the production process as our three factors. Right, so based on these three factors, which are the specifications which were needed for the crane to be redesigned, so that's been listed out here. So these specifications, always you should see that it comes out with respect to three sections. So one is related to the process, one is related to the environment and the user requirement, and the third one is usually related to the operation and the functional requirement. So based on these three sections, the specifications were listed out. So based on operation and function, we listed out about what is the maximum load for the crane, assisted lift how much should be, what is the manual translation, what is the adaptation to the narrow passages. Because we listed out here, you can see the list of the changes which were being needed for the crane design. So same things now are being described with respect to the specification details. And similarly, user requirement, it should be comfortable with the movements, and the range of the crane should be only 1 meter, and adaptations to the narrow passage, the crane should adapt for the narrow passages also. So these were the need of the consumers, user requirement. So even that is being added now in the specification. And apart from that, the specification for the process which has to be carried out also should be added. So it should be an competitive cost, for that what you have to take care of, and again a feasible technical development. Okay, so what is the feasible technical part of the development to get this type of design successfully? So this were listed out, and similarly these specifications should be always mapped with the factors. So what are the factors? One with operation and function, user and environment, and production process, how it is done. So all these are shown here. So what are the operations required? So you should be having the general structure, how it looks, which are the rolling elements needed, which batteries and transformers are in need, right? So what is the mechanical strength of the material you're using? What are the applied materials you're using for any extra functional requirements? Which are the energy sources which is in needed? And some concepts of your kinematics of device, because you need to constrain some degree of freedom and all, right? So all these will come under our operation principles and the device composition which are in need. So based on that, the user requirement will be satisfied. So once this has been satisfied, they will go for production process. So in production process, they should identify which materials are available as per the requirement of the functional properties. So which is the feasible material you will first select. It could be alloys, it could be any type of sheets, or it could be any commercially available processed materials, or it could be electric components, or it could be the mechanical properties what you have to fine tune for the selected material. With respect to quantities, which amount of material is needed for what amount of quantity. So all these things has to be done in our materials and supplies. And even a vendor management will play a vital role in selecting the required materials, because the materials what you select should map with the design, and finally it should end up with a good product as per the need of the customer. So once the material is also been selected, finally the process you will be selecting, which process do you select to use this material and manufacture the product, right? So that processing part will be taken care, and you know you cannot directly manufacture a crane into a single product. You have to first manufacture the components, you have to assemble it, and finally get the required product. So which are the operations needed, which machines you are using in order to manufacture part by part, how you are going to assemble. So all these will be taken care in the process section of the production. So these are the three factors which plays a vital role for designing a crane as per the requirement. So I have explained you the various strategies which are implemented in each phase of the design, how it will help in improving the quality as well as the this one competitive cost with respect to good specifications and as per the requirement of the customers. And we related that to one of the case study for designing a crane with reduced mobility. Similarly, other case studies are being given, you can go through it. So the second one is airbrush for high precision works. All are small case studies, you can just go through it. And one more we have for urban fitness machines, organizing bathroom furniture. So there are various case studies, you can just go through it. So this is how the new design strategies has to be implemented in order to get a good qualitative product with enhanced life cycle for that particular product with good sales and return. So today I'm just ending up over here, and you please, for others who were not there in the class, I can see only 3 to 4 students. There were four, now there are only 3 students. Bet Prakash, you are here? Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. That day you had sent me the seminar project, this one report, right? Recording.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, that
Oh,
was on.
nominate.
Navneet sent me separately with the PPT recording since he's in Nepal. And yourself,
Yes.
Vivek portal, you shared me. What about Shaurya?
Means, ma'am, that recording should be sent by all of the student.
No. It was taken together, right? You two was in a single day, and Shaurya's was on the other day with Navneet. Navneet did not turn up.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, ma'am. Sorry, I was with other some other thing.
You just consult with him and ask him to call me back.
Okay, ma'am. Okay. It means you need that recording also. Sorry, as Priyanka said.
Yeah. Uh, with his,
Okay, ma'am. I will inform him.
just ask him to send me at the earliest. I think I have saved and downloaded somewhere. He mailed me on the same day. I'm not able to get again.
Okay,
Okay,
ma'am. I will ask him, ma'am.
ask him and just inform the students who haven't submitted the assignments until now. There are few students who have not submitted the last assignment, to ask them to submit at the earliest. I have to finalize your final IA marks.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay,
Okay, ma'am.
yeah, then. So go through all the materials given, study well. Okay, so plenty of case studies are also been explained. Question papers are also revised. You have the study material for each and every module. Study
Yes, ma'am.
as per the syllabus and prepare well for your examinations. Okay.
Sure, ma'am.
Yeah, fine then. Take care. Bye bye.
Okay.